Everyone. Hope you had a good week last week, good weekend. Sorry for the delay in getting up your summary from last week. Had a busy weekend. Ran the New York City Marathon, so just getting done with all the festivities and getting getting back set with kind of getting back to life. Apologize uh, for my eye. It's I have one swollen eye. I got into a tussle with a cat last week, and it hasn't recovered. Um, so I apologize for that because I'll probably be poking at it the entire time that I'm talking here. Just wanted to go over some information from last week's quiz and also in the discussions. So last week in our discussions, we talked a bit about uh, what the things are that you would consider when you're thinking about trying to find a new physician. Um, or a new provider. It doesn't have to be a physician, could be a hospital or other type of provider. So things that you take into consideration. Um, a lot of things that came out were time. What is it an office that runs ridiculously far behind? Is it an office that offers nighttime hours? Those types of things. A lot of folks talked about reviews, so it could have been online reviews, or it could have been reviews, just kind of word of mouth, chatting with family and friends about a provider. Um, it may have been just quality of care. Maybe you know that a provider provides great quality of care, so that is something that that maybe from a review from one of your other providers that you receive care from. So all of those things come into play. The one thing that is most interesting that I don't know that anybody mentioned was, boy, I really enjoyed seeing their billboards along the highway, or I enjoyed seeing their advertisements. So that kind of shows how little advertising comes into play. So it's really more about providing goodwill, and good marketing is really about goodwill in the community, getting your word out, providing good service, and even good social media, and participating, being a good community member, being good to your patients, and being a good community member is much better marketing than a billboard along the highway. So I think that that discussion board hopefully showed you a little bit about that. That maybe not just yourself, but your colleagues in class. Those are the types of things that you're looking for when you're looking for a new provider. So a few of the questions, we have three of them that we'll talk about that folks got wrong. So we'll talk about these. The first one is geographical variants are due to variations in illness patterns. So variance in the amount of care provided in that area, etc. So geographical variants are due to variations in illness patterns, and that is false. The answer to that is false. Generally, the geographic variants in different areas across the country are due to access of care. So there's lack of care, lack of the ability to seek care in these different areas, lack of choice of different procedures, those types of things, and that's what causes uh, the main focus of the geographic variance in different areas. So no access to care, therefore no numbers in that particular area. So that's the main problem. Number two, what influences the likelihood that an individual will seek care? Actually, I'm going to grab my book here because I wanted to actually name off a few of the items. So the answers, what influences the likelihood that an individual will seek care? And the answers given were type of service, reasons for seeking care, relevant stakeholders, and personal characteristics. So the appropriate answer was personal characteristics. And the book talked to us about key factors: age, sex, race, income, socioeconomic status, education, culture, patient beliefs. Those are all the kinds of things that affect people's decisions to seek care. So those are all personal characteristics. So that's why our answer was what it was. But all of those things will go into that decision to seek care, just like we talked about this week in the discussion board. So those things will all go into that decision, and they will help to drive what care provider you'll go to. And one of the things that this question reminds me of is how we talked about this week. I noticed that, and I actually do this myself. Um, I noticed that we had many of the students in the class talked about seeking a female physician, and I have three physicians that I see regularly, and they're all females. So that's just I don't know that I specifically sought female physicians, but I just tend to go to them. So sometimes our gender may drive us to certain providers, our age may drive us to certain providers. Maybe as we get older, we want to see older providers because we don't want a provider that's much younger than us. Maybe we want to see providers that have a specific set of educational criteria. Maybe we want to see a provider that has had schooling at a certain area in a certain place that we know provides a really great education. For example, in the Pittsburgh area, maybe we want folks that went to UPMC because went to Pitt because we know they provide a great medical school, or back at home in New York, we know that while Cornell provides great school, or Columbia Med provides a great school. So sometimes you want people to be driven toward schools that are great. That might be the provider that we choose because they went to great medical schools, etc. So they're all personal characteristics. It's not a very specific. It's all just kind of a personal choice thing. Last question. So, term to describe activities that encourage practices as safer driving, such as safer driving, tobacco cessation, exercise, healthy eating, etc. So that term is social marketing. There were a few different answers, but the term is called social marketing. That was the answer. And the one that folks chose most often, if they didn't choose social marketing, was health advocacy. And so social marketing is almost always done by health advocacy groups. So I could see where that would be confusing. So health advocacy groups will perform social marketing, but the actual activities themselves are known as social marketing. So that's where some of that confusion lies. Okay, so that's all I've got for this week. If you have any questions on any of the material from this past week or anything upcoming, please let me know. And I look forward to working with everyone in the discussions this week. Thanks so much.